Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Only in America could people, of course, and the government collect more tax dollars from the people, the citizens, than any nation in recorded history. And still, they spend $1 trillion more than it has per year for total spending, now listen to this, of $7 million per minute. And then they have the audacity, our government, to complain that it doesn't have nearly enough money. Only in America. Woo boy. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning. Oh, there she goes, the wonderful, wonderful, talented lady Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a big spring tire sale, and, of course, some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And without further ado, here we go with the raven-haired beauty over at the station. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning, sunshine, and happy Thursday to you.
Hey, by the way, I want to say thank you to you. Deanna and I both mean this. You've done a lot to help on my Facebook page.
Yes.
And have you realized the other states around the United States, the people are saying they're listening every day?
Yeah.
Ottawa, Illinois is just absolutely, we've got, 13, 14 different Facebook hits from people from Ottawa, Illinois. So, Illinois, we salute you, the land of Lincoln, and all the good folks at Ottawa, Illinois.
Hallelujah.
There you go. Do we have a pledger?
We have Miss Abigail on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Wonderful. Abby, good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantabulous. Go ahead with the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. Now, you have a great day, okay, Abby?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. What a beautiful girl she is. Oh, my goodness, it's time for the weather. And when we say the weather, we mean we're going to be talking about our sponsor of Michael Rogers Weather, and that's Save On Shells. You know, I just don't understand why more people aren't running in there today. And going into the spring and summer, you got to protect whether it's your groceries in the back of the pickup bed, your tools, saddles, tack, whatever it might be. Wherever you're going, you need to have a shell from Save On Shells. 1835 Overland in Burley. Anthony is available for your calls if he's not right there at the Camper Shells location. 312-1525. Save On Shells. I'll tell you more about them in just a minute. Here's Michael Rogers Weather.
You've got a good-looking weekend, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Lots of sun. You got very few clouds. You got temperatures in the 70s for this week going into the weekend. When you start off the beginning of the work week on Monday, your daytime highs will be in the 50s. Saturday, for the folks who are going to be heading out to the golf course, you're going to be looking to the north. You're going to want to hit your ball to the north, and when you hit it, it's going to go to the right. That's called wind, and you're going to get a lot of it coming Saturday, 25, 35 gusts in the 40. But other than that, got a pretty good spring weekend. So enjoy the weekend and enjoy the weather. It is the only weather you got. If you come down to Vegas, stop by and say hi. And if you get bored, you can stop by and watch Tim McGraw's Tale of the Nation. Other than that, got a great weekend from Murtaugh, Idaho, all the way down to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Michael, outstanding weather forecast and great job. Thank you very much. MichaelRogersWeather.com, brought to you by Save on Shells. I've been telling you folks about these great people at Save on Shells for quite a time, and they have the new ARE shells, many different models for your pickups. They've got the bed slides for your pickup. Those really will save you a lot of work and lifting. And also they've got a fantastic selection of used camper shells. Installation parts and service, they're really, really great people. How do I know? I bought one from Save on Shells, 1835 Overland and Burley, the number 312-1525. I think we ought to sell some cattle right now. Gina, bring on in Merv, would you please?
All right, he gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.
Oh, that's the voice, the chant of the world's best auctioneer right there. Merv May at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. The number to call at the office, 678-9411. Merv May, Lance Udy, and the rest of the crew having a ripping good sale today starting at 10:30. Some of the consignments that we've got: David Andresen from Malda, the BYU Ranch, bringing in 60 head of yearlings. These are good cattle. Nathan Eames over north of Rupert. Hello, Nathan. How you doing? 40 head of black steers. Jeremy Smith out at Minidoka bringing in 40 head of black steers. Mike Staker over to Rupert, 20 head of cows. The Hooper Ranch over at Elko, Nevada, Silver State Stampede Country. Semi-load of mixed cows and calves. P-Bar S Dairy in Malda, a semi-load of butcher cows. Moo Mountain Dairy over to Ecklo, Declo. Did I say Hecklo? I said a Declo with a D. 140 head of butcher cows, and TLK Dairy of Mountain Home, another semi-load of butcher cows, along with a good trailer run. Hey, sale time 10:30 at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, he gets the steer calves there here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, sell them $35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Oh my goodness sakes! Hey, by the way, I want to just bring up a couple of things here real quick this morning. Tickets for Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Don't forget, call 436-4149 and get your tickets, or at the door Saturday night at the King Fine Arts Center at 7 o'clock. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. I have called Cliven Bundy and left word at his ranch, and as you probably know, there's been a lot of things in the news about the Bundy family and the federal government and the absolutely thuggish atmosphere that the feds have shown. I watched the videotape on national news this morning at 4:30, and as they literally tried to tase and also attack German shepherds to disperse his family from standing on the side of the road in a little parking area. Deanne, would you please take this call? I have no idea why they're calling while I'm on the air on the cell phone, but we can't take that. But I just wanted to remind everybody that there's two sides to every story, but the thuggishness and the attitude of the federal government, they actually even sent the guard dogs, these German shepherds, after a pregnant lady that's a member of the Bundy family, and it's almost to the point of Gestapo tactics by the federal government, and they should be embarrassed. And all of this to remove the cattle from the desert area, and it's desert down there, in honor of the desert tortoise. It's almost silly. And we will have Cliven Bundy on our program next Monday, if the feds haven't locked him up in prison. Anyway, I can hear your microphone on. Go ahead.
Well, I've been actually keeping up on this story, and of course, Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval and Senator Dean Heller, they are heavily condemning the BLM for their actions on this one. So,
well, did you hear what Sandoval said? And he said it the best, and I saw the tape. I mean, videos don't lie. And Republican Governor Brian Sandoval pointed out, and he said it's an atmosphere of intimidation.
It is an atmosphere of intimidation. They even jailed Bundy's son for videoing.
Yeah.
Just for taking a video. And so he has been released from jail now, but the way that they are handling this entire situation is so wrong.
Gina, somebody, honestly, and I mentioned this, and I'm not at liberty right now to talk about who I talked to with the Bundy family, etc. They asked me to leave first names out of it until we get them on the air this next week on Monday. But here's the situation. Everywhere they were standing was not impeding the federal government at all. As a matter of fact, they were off on a little roadside turnout area. And for this boy, Dave Bundy, I believe, is the one that was arrested. And there were also a member of the family that is a pregnant lady. Now, I do not know if that's Dave Bundy's wife or not, but they sicked a guard dog on her.
Yeah, how low can you get on that?
I mean, come on. And what's going to happen, Gina, is this. And I hope I'm dead wrong, and I think you'll agree with me. This could turn into a very traumatic, dangerous, and life-threatening situation.
It very much could turn into that kind of a situation. And like you, I really, really hope it does not. And so I am going to be posting up the latest story on this on your Facebook page.
Please. And you know, the thing is, Gina, I know the Bundy family. I've known the Bundy family down there for over 40 years. And why do I know them? Because the Bundys raise a lot of bulls, and many of which their bulls have been sold to various rodeo stock contractors. And, of course, being that I'm in the rodeo business, yes, I know the Bundys. That's not just being saying I'm dropping names. Of course I know the Bundys, and I've worked with the Bundys, and they've helped supply stock at various rodeos to the stock contractors. So, yes, I know them, and they're also ranchers. And, yes, I'm on their side in this, and I'm going to do all I can to help them. But this is a situation where the environmentalists in this country now have complete control with the Endangered Species Act, whether it's the desert tortoise or whether it's the sage grouse or whether it's the problem we're having here with the wolves. All of this is to drive mankind out of existence and out of that habitat.
Well, and here's the thing. His family has been ranching on that particular land since, 1887?
Yeah, way back, literally, they've been one of the pioneer families in that area of the United States.
You know, and when we're talking about, stewards of the land and everything, honestly, I think his family is doing a great service to the land. And as far as these tortoises are concerned, I was also reading a related story where the BLM is going to go in and kill some of them because of the water supply.
You know, Gina, this is what really irks me about these so-called endangered species. And I'm writing about this for this week's Cow Pies and Coffee Cups blog. We, the white, Caucasian, Christian, hard-working taxpayers, we are the endangered species.
We really are. And they don't care about us.
That's right.
They care more about a tortoise and a rat than they would about the human race.
But tell me something. And you're a journalist that's seen these stories come across your desk ever since you were in the radio and television business. So have I. Tell me, please, how cattle that are grazing and using a renewable year-after-year resource are going to bother, kill, maim, destroy a desert tortoise.
They're not. They're not.
Gee whiz. I mean, I am so frustrated as to the idiocy and incompetency of the environmental movement in this country. Tell that caller, please, I'll be right with him. I got to pay some bills or I'm going to be way out of time. Don't forget our friends at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, what a great place to eat. I absolutely am tickled to death that we moved our Zeb's Lunch Bunch over there. Everybody's enjoying the food. Everybody's enjoying the service. Everybody's enjoying the atmosphere. And you can too. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, stop in anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. And don't forget, that is the new home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Also, Valleywide Home and Ranch. Deanne, write a little note about that call if you wouldn't give it to me, please. Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida, and Rupert, Steve, Mandy, the whole crew, they got boots. They got boots. They've got area boots. They've got boots galore. You're looking for cowboy boots, they're over there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. And all your spring and summer clothing, and they've got all the 4-H needs, whether you need feed, halters, whatever. They've got an amazing tack department, and they're ready to serve you at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning to you, sir. I'll tell you what, Zeb, it's just like Janet Reno's outfit. They can go around and kick, stomp, kill, do whatever they want. Not a damn thing done about it, because where's the sheriff in Nevada? He has the authority over that damn bunch. Why don't he use it?
You know, right there, and thank you, and I mean that, Al, a lot of people still are duped into thinking that the federal government is the big brother, the guy in the sunglasses that's going to come in and play Big Bubba and take over. No, the county sheriff still maintains more power over any federal jurisdiction, and I agree with you. That sheriff in that county should be there to make sure that he's a protection device between the feds and this family.
That's exactly right. Just look at Ruby Ridge, what happened up there.
Well, now wait a minute. Right there you've hit on it. And many, many newspapers all across this country, including the USA Today and the Wall Street Journal and others, have claimed that this may turn into another Ruby Ridge. So your verbiage is correct right there.
And so is that Davinian, kids, the guys where they was killed in that house.
In Texas, yeah.
And it's going to come to it because you've got an Attorney General of the United States, Holder, should be in jail right now because of his antics and what he has done to circumvent the law and obstruct justice.
Al, I'm going to talk about Eric Holder in a few moments, but I'm just going to say this, and whether it's perceived as racist or not, I don't care. I honestly believe that this man, Eric Holder, has done more, along with Barack Obama, to impede, harass, and hurt their race more than any white person ever could.
You got that right, and there's a lot of others right along with him.
All right, Al. God bless you, man. Thanks appreciate it. Caller, be right there. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric for all your electrical needs, and I mean that, all your electrical needs. They've got light bulbs. Oh, my goodness, they've got light bulbs. They've got all kinds of light bulbs over there. I mean, you need to shine the light on something, the light of your life. They've got it right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They've got all your air filters. They got everything for electrical. All you got to do is just go in there and find out, or call ahead. They'll have it waiting for you at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Good morning, caller.
Zeb, in regards to that rancher in Nevada, the Bundys, now I am for public grazing. I raise cows myself, but on Sean Hannity, I didn't think it was just the tortoise. That was only part of the land. What the fight is over, he quit paying his AUMs in 1990. And he owes $1 million in back fines and AUMs, and that's what it's about.
Well, you know, you're
what Hannity said.
Well, okay,
and I would like to be able to graze my cows and not have to pay AUM.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I mean, there's two sides to every story, but you'll notice that the verbiage we have given this morning has been just on how electrified the confrontation has been. I'm not saying that the Bundys have done everything perfectly, and you didn't hear me say that this morning. I'm just saying that right now, the federal thugs coming in there with dogs and tasers and everything, and the lack of having the county sheriff there, I think you will agree this is a very incendiary situation right now, and it better stop before somebody gets hurt or killed.
Well, I think the way it should be handled, the government should probably waive any fines that are included in that $1 million he owes. And, then he should have to pay his AUMs and end the whole conflict.
Well, there is a portion of what he said, and I don't have everything that was written in various newspapers about what Cliven Bundy said, but I'm remembering that he said something about the state of Nevada actually should have the jurisdiction over this instead of, quote-unquote, the BLM and the feds. And you know, when you think about it, and states' rights, I think you as a cattleman, you would also agree that you'd much rather perhaps pay the state than you would the interrogating factor of the federal government.
Well, and that's true, but I see this as hurting all ranchers, basically, because it just put, to me, when they were on Sean Hannity, when he was talking about it, it puts a black eye in ranchers' eyes. It's not right that he didn't pay his AUMs. That's cheap fees.
No, I agree with you.
I want cattle to be in the mountains. I don't want them to be stopped. And this just points a finger at it, and I think that It's ridiculous. I mean, that's 14 years you've been grazing these cattle and not paying a fee.
I agree with you in everything you said, and that's why I'm trying to get Cliven on the phone and get him up here so that he can voice exactly his side of it. But what you said about the grazing, that's exactly right, and I'm going to mention that to him. But I think you'll also agree for the federal government to use as an excuse to get anybody off the land, the endangered species such as, and i.e. the desert tortoise, that's ridiculous.
Well, it is, and I don't mean to sound like I'm just being argumentative, but, they're going back into history saying his family had run cattle there for like the last 100 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But, the Mexicans could say, we used to have California. We want California back. We want Texas.
No, wait a minute. We paid for that in the treaty. I'm trying to think of the name of the treaty. I think it was the Hidalgo Treaty or something like that. I'll think of the name here in a minute. But that was all bought and paid for legally. We didn't take it from Mexico, and no, they cannot get it back.
Well, I'm just saying that Bundy, when he's going back in history like that, we'd all like to be able to say stuff like that. I just think some of his argument is a black eye to all ranchers, and it will draw attention to it, because when I listened to it on Sean Hannity, I just started hearing about this a day or so ago, and I thought, well, why doesn't he just pay his AUMs? But he probably can't because he's so far behind.
Well,
maybe all ranchers ought to start a fund and help him pay and get current. The government should reverse any fines and just end it, and then he'd have to play by the game. But that way we can keep cattle on federal land and, not have a war over them.
No, I agree with you. But the point I was getting at this morning wasn't whether I was on his side. I'm not. If he didn't pay his bills, which he didn't for a long time, I'm not saying that. I never even mentioned that earlier this morning because I agree with you on that part of the story. But I'm upset about the escalation. I'm upset about guard dogs, German shepherds, having to use tasers, sicking a guard dog on a pregnant woman, standing there on the side of the road, telling them they're going to arrest if they don't disperse. They were just standing there. I think you'll agree with me. You give somebody of a badge and sometimes a federal position, and sometimes power can be overused.
And I do agree with that. I do not understand the use of that at all.
All right. And by the way,
totally uncalled for.
Absolutely, and I thank you for your input on this morning because I agree with you. And thanks. Call back again. I really like having you on the air.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, the point is, and by the way, that is a good point of the story that needs to be brought out, but I was talking primarily this morning about the excessive force. This whole story needs to be brought to light, and that's why I'm going to have Cliven Bundy on my program and have him answer those questions about why did you ever let it go so long and these kind of things. But on the other hand, the excessive force and somebody like Ruby Ridge that Al pointed out earlier is going to get hurt, or we could even have somebody fatally shot, whatever. I don't want to see that come to that. Oh, my goodness, I've got to pay some bills. I'm way behind. I mean, like in 5 minutes behind. Don't forget Penetron Soil Conditioner by Maisie with a 20-year proven record of increasing yield and quality of all Idaho crops, speeding germination and reducing crusting, improving stand, stimulating root growth and microbial activity. And by the way, Penetron by Maisie will also save irrigation water, and that is alone going to pay for the cost of the product. Penetron-treated crops have more roots that result in better water and nutrient uptake, and believe me, you need it for your growing season this year. Check with your fertilizer dealer and your crop advisor today for the real stuff. Penetron by Maisie, you call them today. Holy buckets, he's waiting on the telephone, chomping on the bit, can't wait to get on the radio. Jim McCall, Travel Lube Supply, what's going on?
Good morning, Zeb. It is beautiful spring day.
It's going to be a beautiful spring weekend. A little breezy. You better put your kind of Velcro on the inside of your baseball cap. Don't lose it. And what's happening at Travel Lube Supply?
Well, don't forget we're having a sale on filters.
Mm-hmm.
Up to 90% off. If you're going to put a filter on anything you own or know somebody that is, give us a call. We are making some deals.
Okay, now along with filters, you got all the oil, and you got all the tools, and there's just about everything you've got right there at Travel Loop Supply, isn't there?
Well, that's right. If we don't have it, we can have it in just a little while and let us deliver it for you. Give us a call for any of your needs. Also, now is a perfect time to be planting trees. We got water coming in a week. It'll be just right. Get those trees transplanted and get them off to a good start. We've got trees out here, $50 a tree. You come and pick it, and we'll get it in your pickup for you.
All right, Jim. I tell you what, Jim, I appreciate you. I appreciate Travel Loop Supply. And by the way, you got all the bolts, too, the metric and standard bolts and the bolt bins. You got everything, don't you?
We sure do. Give us a call. I got one used 42-hole bolt bin. If anybody needs a bolt bin, give me a call.
All right. Jim McCall, Travel Loop Supply. They deliver the goods, 1050 West, 203 South, Hayburn, 438-8730. Jim, have a wonderful weekend. Put the sunscreen on. You're going to burn your nose.
Well, good. Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. There's one of the nicest people in the world right there, Jim McCall. Holy cow, we got to get the Capital Press Ag Minute on. It's brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps. All your family will enjoy the comfort. And, of course, through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here now, the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. Idaho dry bean acres are expected to be up 17% this year compared with 2013. Bean prices are holding steady at just under $40 per hundredweight, while prices for grains and other crops such as sugar beets that compete with beans in Idaho have declined. According to USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service, Gem State farmers intend to plant 55,000 acres of dry beans in 2014, up from 47,000 last year. Idaho dry bean acreage plummeted from 69,000 acres in 2012 to 47,000 acres in 2013, but most growers and industry leaders expect it to bounce back this year, though they differ on how much. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Brandon Tenner. For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and CapitalPress.com.
Oh, thank you very much, Lennox Home Comfort Systems through Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, bringing you the Capital Press Ag Minute. Holy cow, calls are welcome. Gina, did you hear the news about what Obama wants now for more money on gun control? Listen to this. President Obama, and a lot of people aren't carrying this story. You probably will not hear this on NBC, CBS, or ABC, or CNN, but some of my contacts back in New York and Washington alerted me that he is trying to get, now listen, $1.1 billion with a B, dollars, to add to his fight for more gun control.
You know, has he ever read the Constitution?
Who are they going after with gun control? Really, who are the principles that they're going after?
They are going after specifically gun owners because gun owners prevent them from basically enacting a military state.
You see, that's
exactly what they want. That's
right. And this is the idiocy and incompetency of what's going on in this country through our government. Instead of going after the bad guys, and you're never going to stop the bad guys from getting what they want, stealing what they want, and doing the crimes that they want to commit. But they're going with $1.1 billion to make it that much more tougher on a gun control basis for legal Americans to protect themselves and their families.
But yet we're talking about the same federal government who is the whole Fast and Furious thing where they're selling illegal guns to people across the border.
Yeah, and you know, this thing scares me because do you remember a week ago we had Joe Overton on from Utah? Well, actually it was 2 weeks ago he made the prediction. He said that by midsummer that there would be a concentrated effort for many more tough policies on gun control. And then it comes out this morning, this April 10th, that he's he's asking for $1.1 billion more. Joe Wolverton is spot on with his assessment of what's happening, and probably by midsummer we will hear a comprehensive gun control ban that is going to include maybe the bracelets that gun owners are going to have to wear, maybe the elimination or confiscation of regular guns and going only to what they call the smart guns that will only fire when you have your fingerprints on the grip. You know something? We are in dangerous times right now of total government involvement in our lives.
That's why all of us need to be contacting every single state senator and state representative in the congressional, on the congressional level, and telling them, no, do not fund this. Do not allow him to garner more tax dollars for this. We can't even afford it anyway.
No, and here's another story that absolutely is sickening. It's sickening, and it's heartbreaking as to what happened yesterday in Pennsylvania, Murraysville, Pennsylvania. Did you hear about this student, 16-year-old student, went into the school and stabbed and slashed 22 other people, students and personnel of the high school, and it used a knife, 2 knives. Now, I hate to minimize the atrocity that was committed, but what are we going to do now? Are we going to start banning sharp objects?
Well, you better ban that number 2 lead pencil.
Well, this is so atrocious that a 16-year-old would go and do what he did. Yep. But, people commit heinous crimes, and they're going to use any exercising of any method they can to hurt and kill. Might be a Hillary Bradsby baseball bat. It might be a shovel. You just don't know, Gina. It's not the utensil. It's the person.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Pencils don't make spelling mistakes. It's the person.
Absolutely. I'll be right with this caller. Don't go away. I got to tell everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental. They've got 3 locations to serve you. One in Twin Falls, one in South Lincoln and Jerome, and, of course, the other one at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes. And they've got the Doosan loaders. Oh, right there in front of the one in Burley, they've got the big DL200. Oh, I mean, this big puppy can load anything. 2.5-yard loader with ride control. Oh my, these loaders from Doosan really get the job done for you. They've got all the Coyote tractors. They've got all the Walker mowers. They've got it all for you. They've got it all for you. Whether you're looking to buy or rent, you better get in there to Berry Equipment and Rental. Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley serving you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got 2 points. I just barely was able to tune in. I didn't know if you talked anything about that rancher down in Nevada and what's going on down there.
Right.
Did you talk about him?
We did a little bit, and a gentleman called, and he brought his points of view into it, that I was concentrating basically on the electricity of what's happening there with the feds versus the family and other members of the area, that it could turn into a real electric and deadly event with an excess use of power. However, this gentleman that called brought in another part of the story that I didn't bring in this morning, that a lot of the blame on this friction goes to Cliven Bundy himself because of the fact that he hadn't paid his AUMs, his grazing fees. There's always 2 sides to every story, but my fear this morning was that this thing was going to escalate and people would die.
Oh, that's my problem exactly. But the other thing is that they made everybody go into basically corralled them for the free speech area.
Yeah.
So they didn't have people wandering all over the place. They weren't able to just freely walk around in that. They were controlling the people that were picketing them and was complaining about what was going on. And they were using tasers and guns and dogs against them.
Well, the thing is, Kiltman, we saw an excessive use of force in other areas, Waco, Texas, up at Ruby Ridge, and this could escalate to that degree. That's why we said earlier this morning that the local county sheriff should be there in force to make sure that the feds and the Bundy family, there is no bloodshed or there's no harm to anyone, and the sheriff of that county should be in complete control.
Yeah, but he basically said that he's basically left it up to the federal government to do what they need to do.
And that's his mistake, though, Kilt Man. That's his mistake, Kilt Man. You know that. The sheriff should be there right now with his hands on his hips saying, no, this is going to be done this way and we're going to do it this way. He should be the central liaison between the feds and the Bundy family to settle this matter so that somebody doesn't get hurt. He had no business, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, he had no business, in my opinion, abdicating the power to the feds.
Agreed. When they brought agents all the way from Oregon and that down there to take care of the situation, you got 200 people against a family of, 3 or 4? Something's wrong with this picture.
Well, I just don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see or hear about guard dogs, German Shepherd guard dogs, knocking down pregnant women. I don't want to see anybody tased. I don't want to see anybody arrested. This situation has got completely out of hand. There are those that say that the Bundy family caused it to get out of hand, and there are those to say that the environmental movement and the feds and everything combined caused it on the other side. The point I'm getting at, though, is that county sheriffs do have the jurisdictional power to go in there and be a kind of a melding pot, if you will, between the feds and this family. And as far as I'm concerned, this sheriff has dropped the ball.
Oh, yes, he has. When Bundy talked to the press about it, he said basically he's tried to get the sheriff to do something. He tried to get the sheriff to come in and run it, and the sheriff told him no.
Well, I think that it just tells all of us that, number one, we should know the Constitution, number two, we should know the laws, and number three, we should be adamant that in a case that might happen here, it could happen in Magic Valley, we'd better know that our law enforcement officers through the county sheriff should be aware that they are in control.
Exactly. And I think we need to start with our state representatives. We need to get them on the stick on this end to curtail the federal government. You know, the state has total control over state lands around here.
Yeah.
And the government cannot just come in and do something without, talking with the state. Okay? They can't just come in on their own and say, well, we're going to do this. No. The state needs to be involved on this stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, and the caller, I hope he's listening, that called earlier, there was a rancher that ran cattle on BLM and federal lands. He was right when he said somehow this is going to be twisted and distorted, what's happening down in Bunkerville, Nevada area. This is going to be distorted so that the enviros and the federal government and the wasted Western Watersheds Project and those inept minds with that group are going to utilize this to try to push more ranchers off grazing. And he had a good point there, because somewhere there's got to be common sense prevail that we can utilize and use a renewable resource called grass so that everybody can be happy.
Oh, that's it exactly right there. The one other point that I wanted to throw out there as far as gun control goes, the sheriff in Detroit, or the police chief in Detroit, crime has said the crime rate is actually falling, and that's because of legal armed citizens in that town.
But what is it? What is it?
I've gotten tired of it.
Yeah, what does it tell you, though? Your own opinion on this, and then I got a break for the weather. But what does it tell you when the president applies for and asks for $1.1 billion with a B to have better and more comprehensive gun control? Doesn't that alert you as a legal gun owner that, look out, Katie, bar the door?
Well, the thing is, he doesn't have a right to do that. As far as any gun control goes, he does not have a right to do that. The federal government does not have a right to do that. The Constitution clearly states that we can have this.
You know as well as I do, my dear friend, that those words that you just uttered make no difference to a man, a mission, and his party to have gun confiscation and gun control under the auspices of the United Nations Treaty.
And that's the thing is we've got to have people back there that have some backbone. Don't give us a bunch of stinking lip service, to get back there and do what we sent them out there to do their stinking job And then we got to get our state representatives right here in the state of Idaho that can look at the federal government and says, no, that's not going to happen in the state of Idaho.
I'm totally in agreement with you, but I'm telling you something, Joe Wolverton, kind of a prophet when it came to what he said he thought would happen, and it's coming to fruition with this $1 billion being asked for. Just think about the press, just think of the media hits, just think of what he can do to buy votes. I mean, this is absolutely atrocious. As a gun owner, I'm very concerned.
Well, so am I, and the thing is, he's going to push it, and he's going to push it, and it's going to be him that's going to cause this revolution. And that's what I'm afraid of. We're going to cause a revolution, and things are going to break loose on us.
I'm not going to argue that, Kilt, man. God bless you for your call and your thoughts. I appreciate it. I got to get the weather in. Caller number 2, I'll be there in a minute, and I mean that. Stand by. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. They'll take care of you. They have 3 main goals: getting you feel better soon with your hurts and your aches and your cuts, and save you time and money. So remember always that they're there to help you. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 9, Sundays 1 to 7. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. Here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Springtime in the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho. Yeah, it's real simple. Another day of sun and clouds. Temperature today for a daytime high, 77 is a pretty good number, 41 for the overnight low. And tomorrow going into the weekend, it'll be fabulous. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather and feel the weather you got.
All right, thank you very much. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley, our sponsor of Michael Rogers Weather. Caller, good morning. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Oh, yeah, as far as that, I can't remember his name, the rancher there in Nevada.
The Bundy family.
I heard what he was saying about what he owed. He said he was willing to pay at any time. He just does not want to pay it to the BLM. He wants to pay it to the county, or the money should go.
Yeah, he's got a viewpoint, and you're right about what he said there. And I don't have the direct quotations in front of me, so please bear with me. I'm just going to give this in an overview. He did say something to that effect, and he said that he'd be willing to pay it in a certain fashion to the county, etc. He didn't think the feds had claim on that land. This whole thing is, I think, got blown completely out of proportion because I think cooler heads could have prevailed and this could have been handled a lot differently. I'm going to get him on the program if I can the first of the week, and we'll ask direct questions to that regard. But going back to what I said, first hour, Alias, I think you'll agree with me that this is a tinderbox right now that somebody could get hurt, and I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah, they easily get hurt, and I'm hoping you get him on before they shoot him. And where, like everybody else has said, where's the sheriff and where's the governor?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much for your call. I'm running a little bit late. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, calls welcome, 436-2244-1866, 927-4587. We'll take that call in a moment. Don't forget, once again, I want to remind you, Lennox Home Comfort Systems, through our friends and yours at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. Ramsey Heating and Electric, serving you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I called down to the Clark County Sheriff, and apparently there's so many calls coming in about this that they have created a whole new a number, and they have a certain amount of people that are dealing with the calls, because when I called, the lady says, good morning, Idaho. I bet you're calling in about Cliven Bundy.
Yes.
And so I have a number here if you want to call, and not you necessarily use that, but anybody, to call down and get the information from the sheriff. But my intent is because I called the number, and I was unable to get through because it just rang and rang and rang because they're being inundated. And see, this is the kind of thing that shows that when we involve ourselves as people, that things will change if we just call. And I guarantee you, this would be the backlash would be so bad. Ruby Ridge or whatever down in Texas, I don't think that they could. Back then we were kind of naive we're no longer that way in this respect. So,
Randy,
this number is 702.
Yes.
671-3394.
Right.
And I'm going to just call and say, hey, you know what? You're the sheriff of this county. You're supposed to protect the people. Why aren't you doing your job? That's what I intend to do. And then they're going to give me their viewpoint. Go ahead, sir.
The one thing I want to say, and we try to every day remain with facts only on this program, because too many talk shows make too many suggestions and come off on their own tree limb. The thing I want to say is I'm hypercritical of sheriffs in general not being involved and taking the power that they have and use it for the good of the public and perhaps the safety of a situation. In this case, as I read and study what's going on in the various newspapers from reporting, I would perceive that the sheriff has abdicated the power to the federal government, when in essence I don't think he should have. If I'm proven wrong on that, I'll be the first to apologize.
Well, I'm going to find out. I'm going to get back on the horn here and see what I can find out and see what their explanation is, because they have to explain it, because people are calling in from all over the country, apparently, and she was totally ready for the call when I called.
All right, Randy, I appreciate your being on the ball. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. You bet. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, we spent most of the winter in Las Vegas, and the sheriff of Clark County, I think his name is Gillespie, but I can't say for sure, but he was voted among his peers as the Sheriff of the Year for the United States.
I do remember reading something about that. Yes, go ahead. What's your point, Keith? Go ahead.
Well, the point is that when this was announced, most of the people in Las Vegas got up in arms about it, because they think he's been pretty high-handed, very forceful and that sort of thing. So I don't know what we're looking at here.
I don't know the man, and I don't know anything about how he tends to his office and his politics or anything else about the sheriff. I have worked with in the past, because I've worked a lot in Las Vegas with the National Finals Rodeo and other specialized events that have been through some of the casinos like the South Point and also the Gold Coast and the Orleans. I've worked extensively on equine shows and operations through those events, and I've worked with the sheriff's department in the past. Now, this sheriff I've not worked with. In the past, I've worked with many of his deputies and the sheriff himself of Clark County, and they've been very helpful, very sincere. I don't know this man. I don't know anything about his history and background over this situation, but I am saying that the sheriff should take more control and I think be more of a positive figure to make sure that this thing doesn't escalate to where people might even get killed or severely injured.
Well, I think he's very political, because he must have a lot of charisma and everything to be picked among his peers for this particular award.
Yeah.
Where in Clark County is this ranch?
Well, okay, you go across the state line, and you know where Bunkerville and that area is? Over by Mesquite, Bunkerville, that area?
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's over in there.
Jeez. I don't know how you could raise much over there, but evidently there must be some fertile areas.
Well, there is not much in some of that, but the grazing that's there, it's there. But let me tell you something, there's a lot of rocks. Hey, Keith, I got to run. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, sir.
You bet.
Don't forget the Big Spring Tire Sale at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. There's 7 locations in Magic Valley serving you. And serving, that's the word right there. They really take care of you with the best in tires for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs. Did you look at your horse trailer tires? Whoa, wait a minute. You don't want to be hauling old paint down the road on those. They're bald, man. You got a whole bunch of knots and everything. You better get in there and get new tires during the spring tire sale for your horse trailer, your boat trailer, everything. They've got all the custom wheels, and they've got the best in batteries and front end alignments, shocks and struts, and the best in brake service, too. That's where I go. You should, too. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line and Twin, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know what I forgot to do this morning, Gina, and I'm surprised you didn't yell at me. I forgot the tip of the coffee cup.
You did.
And guess who it is today?
Me?
Sure, Gina Jameson. There it is right there in black and white on the paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, really, who is it?
And Dave and Sherry Wright, very good friends of mine over in Kimberly, and Colonel Dale Whipple.
Woo!
There you go.
You know what that... hold on.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There you go, my hallelujahs. One other thing, too. Did you happen to hear Jeb Bush on the news yesterday?
I tried to avoid him, so no, I did not.
Well, I'm avoiding him from now on. He made statements about immigration and about illegals coming across the border and residing in this country. You can pull it up on the computer. You can read it.
An act of love.
And, yeah, an act of love. And I'll tell you something, Jeb Bush and the Republican Party, they'd better look at their whole card. Instead of playing to the Hispanic vote, they better think about the taxpayers of this country, because the comments that were made by Jeb Bush yesterday, if he does decide to run for president, and if he does get the nomination nod, I will not vote for the man.
I won't either. And here's the thing. You know what? If people want to come into this country, please do. We welcome you. Do it legally. But we cannot afford 3 million people a year. The taxpayers can't afford it.
Well, his comments...
We can't even afford the people in our country now.
I made a comment in my blog last week, and I'll quickly say this. I said that we ought to have a controlled immigration system in this country right now, limiting it to 150,000 per year of legal entrants only. And that's because of the infrastructure, the jobs, everything else. We can't hold any more capacity on a per year basis.
And didn't there used to be a limit?
There was years ago, to some extent, and this whole thing has got so atrociously out of whack because the legals that want to come in here, they're doing everything the right way, and the illegals are laughing at them while they're standing first in line.
Exactly.
I got to run. News next, CBS. I'm in trouble already with Kim Lee. ABC. Oh, who cares? They're going to mess it up anyway. ABC's next. Oh, my. Good morning. On Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell. Good morning, and welcome to, with our major sponsor, our show, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And then, of course, some of our great advertisers that include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. We'll be talking to them next hour. And then don't forget, too, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Well, before we get to our next call, I want to remind you, too, about Joel Heward and Hanson Mortuary. This is a family situation serving families. And I mean that. His whole family, Joel Heward's family, is dedicated to serving you and your family in a time of need. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. And when you're planning a funeral and you have such short period of time to get everything done, dot the I's, cross the T's, they can come right to you for that planning. So please remember the number, 436-5636. The Heward family, serving you at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Also, I want to remind you real quick about some other folks over in Rupert that have been outstanding to work with. How do I know? Well, they're my agent. You better believe it, and that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Oh, my goodness, they do a job for everybody. Don't you dare sit there and put that on the back burner and say, well, one of these days. No, do it today. Call them at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. They are waiting to serve you. Well, over the river and through the woods, if you can find any woods to run into before you get over to the office of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, here's the lovely Kay. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, just kind of nudging a 9.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. It's going to be a beautiful day in Minnecasia.
It is. Now, you just go right ahead and tell us all the wonderful plans you have for civic involvement at the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, today we're very excited. Today is our Chamber Luncheon Day, and we've just got a great program lined up today. We've got Director Ken Edmonds coming to speak to us today. He is the director for the Department of Labor for the state of Idaho, and we're so excited that he would take time out of his day to come and present to our members today and discuss things going on with the Department of Labor in the state of Idaho. So we're really excited about that.
You know, I would imagine that there's probably nobody that has to go and attend as many meetings as you do.
Well, I don't know that I'm the only one out there that attends meetings, but you know, one thing I guess I'm kind of fortunate about is that I have quite a variety of meetings. My meetings aren't always on the same thing. I get a little bit of everything in it, and so it's very diverse. And so I do attend a lot of various types of things, but it's a lot of variety, and so it really makes the job exciting.
Yeah, wait a minute. Be honest with me. Have you honestly ever gone to a meeting and it was so doggone boring that all of a sudden they caught you snoring over in the corner?
Well, I hope to never snore, so I hope that hasn't happened. If it happened, they didn't tell me about it.
Well, now what's going on with the ladies? That's coming up, isn't it?
Yes, we're very excited about our women's seminar. It's such a great event. The date it's coming. It's right up around the corner. April 24th is the date. We've got fabulous speakers. We've got Dawn Aslett, who's the King and Queen. We've got the 2014 Mrs. World and Jaylyn Twist. And if anybody has ever heard Jaylyn speak, she's fabulous. She's so funny and so entertaining, and it's just a lot of fun. And then we've got a lot of other things in between. We've got a section on your credit score and how to simplify your life and great skin and proper posture and all kinds of great things. And we're going to have a great day. We've got over 50 vendors. Admission includes either lunch or dinner. It's going to be great. Great day for the ladies.
It is going to be a lot of excitement. But I want to just say something. You have, I think, in my estimation, one of the sweetest ladies, a part of your program. I've known Jaylyn for a long time, and her and Max are very special people. And you've got the cream of the crop when you've got her.
Oh, I know. We've had her before. It's been several years, and we are just thrilled that she agreed to come and speak again this year because she is fabulous. She's so fun. She has a lot of great stories and is entertaining and motivational and yes, absolutely cream of the crop, just like you said.
She's entertaining in real life every day. I mean, you don't have to have her just to speak to you. I mean, she's fun to be around.
She comes into our office and we all just kind of get the giggles because she's just so much fun.
All right. Anything else with the chamber that you want to hit this morning?
Well, like I said, we're just have our chamber luncheon today. We're very excited about our women's seminar coming up. We've seen a lot of influx of visitors into our community, which is always great. We're grateful that we live in such a beautiful community and such kind people. That is one thing that we often hear from people when they come in from out of the area is that they just really like the people here. And so just keep up the good work. Remember the importance of customer service, and for all of the listeners out there that might be tied into a business or work at a business or just have interaction at a grocery store or convenience store with people from out of town, just remember to mind your P's and Q's and to be kind and considerate, because you never know who those people are, where they're coming from, and it really does make an impression on the whole community. But for the most part, I think most people do a pretty good job, and we do live in a great community, and the people are great, and it's noticed.
By the way, when you have some spare time, do you go outside your office and just feed the ducks?
Feed the ducks or beat the ducks?
Feed the ducks. You don't beat ducks. You feed them.
Well, I thought you said beat.
No.
You can't catch the ducks. But no, I actually haven't been out to feed the ducks, but that might be kind of a fun thing to do. But it sure is nice to go out and just go for a walk and my kids, their favorite thing, I think, this time of year is to get on their little scooters and ride their scooters down the walking trail. They just think that's a lot of fun.
Well, I tell you what, you do a great job with the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, the home of the happiest ducks in Magic Valley, and, of course, Kay Cameron, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice lady right there. Hey, don't forget Whipple's Book Plaza. You know what? When you talk about Colonel Dale Whipple, you're talking about one of the absolute finest gentlemen that ever was. I mean, I really enjoy this man, and he's got all kinds of different stories. And by the way, the Whipple's Book Plaza is the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame, and he's put that all together. He's a real diligent man, and he really is concerned about everybody knowing about Southern Idaho and everything that's going on. Well, for all your gifts for Easter, they've got everything at Whipple's Book Plaza. So please stop over because the Book Plaza has it all. They're located at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Whipple's Book Plaza, you stop in today. Holy cow, it's Thursday, and that means it's time for Gardening for Idiots, named after me. And here's the lovely Vicki of Vicki's Country Garden at 185 South 600 West of Paul. Good morning, Miss Vicki. How are you?
I'm just fine, Zeb. How are you doing this nice spring morning with a little breeze blowing?
There's been breezes blowing quite a bit this spring, I'll tell you that.
Yes, there has. This is very true. You were talking about Easter just a minute ago. We have the cutest little
We lost her. She's gone. Vicki, are you there? Come back, Vicki. Vicki, come back. Gina, what happened to her?
I think her cell phone dropped, and so she'll call back immediately.
Oh, my goodness, we lost Miss Vicki. Everybody, get a search and rescue vehicle. We got to go find her. She's somewhere out in Verizon land or whatever. Oh, my goodness, she just dropped off the network. Well, while we're waiting to find Miss Vicki, we'll, what are we going to do? Well, I haven't got a clue. Well, we'll give a commercial here real quick. How's that? Don't forget Let's Ride. That's what I like about live radio. Boy, it can really gum up the works. Live radio with Let's Ride. You better believe. Oh, just a minute. I'll be right with her. Highway 24 in Rupert. You better believe between Rupert and Burley, this is the place where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. And don't forget, they've got all kinds of new ATVs. They got the Can-Am side-by-sides. They got rebates and great financing. Dirt bikes, 0% financing for 5 years. 0% financing for 5 years. Holy buckets. You better get in there today. Let's Ride where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. We found her. The lost is now found. Good morning again, Miss Vicki.
Good morning again, Zeb. I could hear you guys, but you guys couldn't hear me.
I was getting lonesome, Vicki.
Well, I'm sorry, you know. This new technology is wonderful, isn't it?
Oh, I love it to death, and I wished it was dead. Anyway, what's going on at Vicki's Country Gardens? Everybody's getting the spirit. Everybody's getting their work gloves on. Everybody's getting their shovel, and they're ready to garden.
They are, and that's a good thing because we're ready to help them do that gardening situation. We've got all of our new bulk seed in. We've got spud seed and onion plants and onion sets, and we're even starting to get tomatoes and peppers ready to go out. It's still a little early, but we're growing them, and they'll be ready to go when they're ready for them. We've also got some of the cutest little pansies in this year that we've grown that for Easter, they're going to be darling for Easter gifts for Grandma or whatever, but they are called honey bunnies.
Oh, wait a minute, Vicki. Just a second. Stop. Whoa. You're creating a little dilemma for me. Okay. Can you imagine a burly truck driver, 6'7", 320 pounds, coming in and saying, "I heard you talking about the cutest little pansies ever called the honey bunnies"? It ain't going to happen, Vicki.
Well, maybe it'll be a smaller truck driver.
Okay, go ahead.
But anyhow, they have the little flowers look like little bunnies. They have like little bunny ears.
The flowers do?
Yes, they have little ears on them. They're little violas like a pansy, and they have the little faces like a pansy, but they're in the real pastel colors, and they have little ears up like little bunnies. So hence be the name honey bunny.
You have been gardening way too long, lady.
I know. It doesn't take much to entertain me.
Listen, if I ever walk in there, Lord, closing hour, and I hear you talking to the honey bunnies, turn it around, lady.
Oh, Lord, she lost it for sure. But no, those are a cute item. They're a new item for us this year, and they are really a cute. They make a cute gift idea for Easter or whatever, but they're also really cute to put in planters and things. And we are getting planters and stuff if people are wanting custom hanging baskets or something grown. If they want certain colors, like a group of them all to match or something, come in and talk to us. We can usually get those done for them, too. So.
Okay. Now, I have a question for you this morning. Because, you know, this program is called Gardening for Idiots, and that means a guy like me that doesn't know a lot about gardening. I would imagine if you're a first-time gardener and you've never done it before, choosing the site where you're going to till the soil is very important, right?
It is. It's a very important part of it. You want to make sure you've got the proper sunlight. You don't want to put a garden in the shade because most all your garden products need to have full sun, at least 3/4 of a day full sun. They can shade a little bit in that hot afternoon. It helps with watering and things like that, but you definitely don't want them in a total shade situation. You want a spot where you can get adequate water. You don't have to be running, you know, you're not running out of water at the end of the garden or whatever. You want to be able to make sure you can get, and it's always best to make sure you can get, you know, your tillers and stuff like that into where it's not in a tight area where if you want to run a tractor tiller, you want it in a spot where you can get a tractor tiller in there if you can.
Okay. And what about, is it necessary if you're concerned about the quality of your soil that you get a soil test?
I recommend a lot of times to get soil tests. I mean, if you've had a good lawn growing there and the lawn looks really good and, the stuff, in your yard looks good, it's not as crucial. My main thing is that I've been finding for people is if they will, when they're starting a new garden site, mostly the problems we have in this area is a high pH soil. So the one thing you can do to counteract that is work in soil sulfur early spring, midsummer, and fall. Mm-hmm. That'll counteract that. And that usually solves 90% of the problems in our dirt.
Now, another question.
Working your compost into your garden, getting your garden spot worked up. Throw about 3 pounds per 100 square feet of dirt and put about that much sulfur on.
Oh.
And till that in, and you'll see some good results. But you got to do it on a yearly basis. At least a good dose spring and fall, and if you can't, put a dose on in the middle of the summer.
Okay. Now, this question was written into us and by evidently a first-time gardener, and this person asked, how deep do I dig or till the soil for my garden?
Well, I'm kind of one of the farmer-type people, and I like to see that soil turns nice and deep, but most people can't in their garden. Go deep as you can. You want to go deep. It's best to go down at least like a foot to a foot and a half.
Oh, my.
But if you can't get as close to a foot deep as you can to loosen that soil up. Most of your root crops and stuff, your spuds and stuff, are going to be down at least that deep. And then you mound those up, of course. But try to get it at least a foot deep if you can to till it in.
Okay.
Get it loosened up. If you can go deeper than that, I mean, it's great. If you can drop a 2-bottom plow or something in there and really roll that dirt plate, that's great. And if you can do that every year or so, that really works great. But a lot of people don't have access to that.
Okay.
Try to get it down, at least till it with one of the good garden tillers. Till it down at least a foot deep if you can.
And you've got all the products they need for a successful garden this year.
We do, and if it's a first-time garden, don't get carried away. Don't do a 3-acre garden if it's just you and 2 or 3 little kids going to try to take care of it. Otherwise, you're going to live in that thing, and you're going to hate it. Start smaller and work your way up so that you can learn to have a productive garden and have a good time doing it. And then next year, you'll know more what you're doing, and then you can increase your garden every year.
Okay.
But I don't recommend first-time gardeners going out there and plowing up a half acre and deciding to put a garden in unless you've got a whole bunch of people that's going to help you take care of it, because you're going to learn to hate it.
Okay. Now, I got to ask you, are you ready to join the river dance and start clogging? How's the knee?
Well, it'd be a unique clog, let's put it that way.
No, I hope you're doing well.
It's doing better. I mean, what the heck? You know, I haven't got time for this. It's either got to get better or do what it's going to do, because I'm moving on. I don't have time to wait anymore.
That a girl. That's how I feel, too. I just keep dragging it behind me, saying, come on, hurry up and catch up.
That's what I keep saying. You know, they says you're walking with a limp. It ain't as bad as it used to be. It's getting better. I'm on the roll here.
All right. I tell you what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to test you a little bit, and you're going to test me. For the first truck driver that'll stop in and ask for a honey bunny with ears, I'll pay for it. The first truck driver that stops into Vicky's Country Gardens and it says, I want a honey bunny with ears, I'll pay for it. How's that?
There you go. That'll work. I'll tell the girls, and we'll be ready for them.
Okay.
We're ready for that 6 foot tall one.
Yeah, about 6'8", 320, and comes in with a voice that sounds like it's coming from 20 feet under the ground. I want a honey bunny with ears.
There you go.
All right, Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. Oh, we got a quick call. Quick question. I've only got a minute left, caller. Real fast.
Zeb, I'm 6'2" and 280, and I've been trying to get where I could park and call in and have one of them baskets made up for my wife.
All right, well, get over there, and if you ask for a honey bunny with ears, within reason, I'll pay for it, so go ahead.
Talk to you later.
Okay, there you go. Vicky, have a good week, and I'll see you, and we'll compare notes on our knees.
There you go. That'll work, Zeb.
All right, take care. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good day.
All right.
Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. The program called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. And send your gardening questions in, and we'll get them covered right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Holy smokes, where in the world all these dogs come from anyway? They're all over the place. Would somebody go get a collar on that poodle? Well, I'll tell you what, we better get a hold of Officer Ken Moore at Minidoka Animal Control. Good morning as we salute Officer Mort.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
I am fantabulous. What are you doing?
Well, I am here to not feature just one dog. We are actually going to feature pretty much everything we've got in our facility right now. We've wound up over the last few days receiving a lot of small to medium-sized dogs, like a little Brussels Terrier cross, little wire-haired terrier crosses, Chihuahuas. I mean, we've got a large variety of small to medium-sized dogs that we need to find loving homes for. And if you're in the market for a new furry friend and stuff and that, and they're looking for something small to medium, all they got to do is contact us at the facility at 438-2200, or they can reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
How come you ended up with such a plethora of dogs?
We actually got a lot of them on at homes over the last couple weeks. Sunday morning and stuff and that. When I went in to clean the facility, we only had 6 left in there.
Oh, my.
And as of today, we are sitting at like 25. They've either been owner surrender or they were dumped out in the country. Everything that we've picked up in the last few days has been small to medium size, except for we did pick up 2 large ones on it. But I mean, they're all sweet, loving dogs. Like to be cuddled, especially the smaller ones. Love cuddling on that. Love to be around people. There's like people and stuff on that are just taking them out, dumping them, and unfortunately, some of them are getting hit, and the others we're trying to get, we're getting rounded up and working on finding them homes.
You know, I've said this before and we've talked about it before, but there's a special place way down low for somebody that would go out and just dump dogs off in the barrel pit.
There is. I mean, it's not fair to the animal, and it's actually considered animal cruelty.
Absolutely.
In Idaho to just go out and dump an animal and that out in the middle of nowhere without proper care and stuff. I mean, if they get caught, they can be cited with a misdemeanor fine and stuff and that through the state of Idaho.
So you said some of these are going to be small dogs, some are medium-sized dogs, and some will grow into large dogs. But you've got basically you've got a wide variety of people to come and get a good-looking little puppy.
Yes, we do. I mean, like I say, we've got a plethora of small to medium-sized dogs, and I mean, and they all need good living homes.
You know, I just couldn't do your job. It takes a special person with a great, big, huge heart like you to take in all. I'd have probably 100 dogs. I couldn't get rid of any of them. I mean, this has got to be a tough way to do things. And to see them dropped off in a barrel pit or left on the side of the road or whatever, how cruel. That's just terrible. I can't imagine that.
It is, but luckily and stuff and that, I'm able to get at least 95 to 98% of them picked up before they get hit or eaten by the coyotes.
Oh my!
Other wild animals running around out there. So, but I mean, all they got to do is take it to their local animal shelter or dog pound, and I mean, they'll take them off your hands, everything, and work on finding them good homes.
Absolutely. Give us the number again, and it's Easter time, folks, and what a great way to have a new member of the family welcomed in at Easter time, and that'd be a new puppy. Tell us where they can call.
All they got to do is call us at 438-2200 or call me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
Anything else?
No, we're good today.
Okay, good, because I just bit my tongue. Anyway, Ken Mort, God bless you, man, for what you do, and we'll talk to you next week, okay?
Sounds great, Zeb. God bless you.
All right, who let these dogs out anyway? My goodness sakes, Dog Nation with Officer Ken Mort, and he's got a whole bunch of puppies. So get over there, please. Minidoka Animal Control. Congratulations. He does a wonderful job. Very dear friend of ours. Hey, don't forget Lennox Home Comfort Systems with the gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, etc. at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Absolutely. Really good folks. Let's see. I want to remind you, too, coming up Saturday night, I'll be there, you'll be there, everybody will be there, a night of Patriots and Today's Heroes at the King Fine Arts Center in Burley to listen to Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North speak at 7 p.m., and don't miss it. Get your tickets now, 436-4149, or get them at the door, okay? And that's going to be Saturday night, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North at the King Fine Arts Center. Oh, my goodness. The lovely lady is ready to go, I hope. Rita Ramsey, how are you?
I'm real good. How are you doing?
Well, I've got a whole list of things I want to talk to you about this morning because I know that you're going to give us your opinion on everything. But I want to start with something that it's starting to irritate me all over again, and that's Benghazi. You know, Rita, there were 4 Americans, 4 of our people that were killed and mutilated over in Benghazi. No one has been brought to justice. No one on the Democratic side of the aisle seems to care. They want to sweep this underneath the rug. There's been a minimalization of Al-Qaeda, and the whole mess had to go away because it was right in the middle of Obama's re-election. They played politics with this situation, and I think it stinks that the strongest country in the world ever, the United States of America, would act in this manner to where the families still have not had closure.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it all goes back to the Attorney General.
Mm-hmm.
If Eric Holder was doing his job like he raised his hand and swore that he would do, which was upholding the Constitution and enforcing the law of the land, we wouldn't be having this conversation about this thing today. It's not just Benghazi, it's the Fast and Furious, it's about the Holy Land Foundation trial, it's about the IRS thing, and it's also about the gay marriage thing with him going to the individual attorneys general of the states, telling them that if there are laws in their states they don't like, they don't have to enforce them. And that is totally wrong, and why somebody hasn't brought him up and tossed him into jail and say, you know what, you're wrong here, you can't do this, or even just say, you know what, we need to sit you out. You're not worthy to be an attorney general.
Let me interrupt you right there, Rita, and pardon the interruption, but I think a point needs to be made here about this man and the level that he's sunk to. I don't know if you heard it this morning, but you being and I mean this in all politeness, a news junkie like I am, there have been people that have said Eric Holder is playing basically a race card, and what Louis Gohmert of Texas did and said to him during that hearing the other day was not racist, but it seems like this Attorney General is above reproach, above asking questions to, and he's turning around and basically making the kind of little innuendos that if he were white, they wouldn't have talked to him that way. And boy, I'm telling you something, this man, this administration, they play the race card every time they get a chance.
They do, and that's what it's all about. And I hope that Americans are really proud to think that we've hired some people who are black, you know, giving them the full benefit of the doubt that, you know, their skin color doesn't matter, and then every time we turn around, they're saying that we're racist this and racist that. Because why would we have elected President Obama if we were a racist nation?
What gets me is that this administration has been more race dividing than any other administration that I can really recall since way back in the 60s. And, you know, here we have a man that thinks his position of Attorney General is above the law and above reproach, and he perceives himself to be kind of the king. And when Gohmert asked him questions the other day, he made a very unprofessional response like, "Don't go there, buddy. You don't want to go there." That's not the way to answer when you're behind on the information that should have been presented to the hearings, regardless of whether it's the IRS hearing, whether it's the Benghazi hearing, whether it's the Fast and Furious hearing. This man is not above the law. He works for us.
Well, he does only what he wants to do, and Louis Gohmert made an excellent example of that. He said back in 2011, we asked him for information to be provided to us on the Holy Land Foundation trial. And what they did was they had provided documents to the attorneys for those convicted terrorists. He had got all of the information to the attorneys, to the terrorists, everybody that wanted them except Congress. And so that was in 2011. There was the Fast and Furious, which I think was a little bit before that. They don't have all the information on that. They just pick and choose, and they're hiding behind all of their backroom deals and their unlawful acts and everything that they're doing, and it's just ridiculous. And then he thinks that he can come out and act like a spoiled teenager when his dad's called him out on the carpet and say nasty, ignorant things to him like, "Oh, you know, you just don't matter." You know how teenagers start mouthing off when sometimes people don't ever grow out of that, but they start mouthing off when they're called out on the carpet instead of just answering the questions and being respectful and grown up about it. So for him to say, "Don't go there, buddy," to Louis Gohmert, who is basically on that oversight committee over the Department of Justice, is absolutely ridiculous. And there were other things that he said and that he's been carrying around that were equally as insulting. And of course, he didn't really know what they're all about, and so he's made to look the idiot. But it's really sad when there's no respect for those in authority, and the number one person who should be overseeing and making sure that the law is upheld across this country is just trampling the Constitution, to no end.
Well, I tell you something, everything you said was exactly right. But, I'm going to say something here that I think you'll agree with, but a lot of Americans won't mouth this because they don't want anybody to say, "Well, you said that." Barack Hussein Obama, in my opinion, is one of the absolute lowest personalities to be the President of the United States. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that in the middle of that campaign with Mitt Romney, the Benghazi terror attack happened. That night, Barack Obama was not acting as the President of the United States staying in his office. He was jetting off to Las Vegas for a great big campaign fundraiser, which was more important to him than the 4 Americans that lost their lives in Benghazi. And quite frankly, to get reelected, Al-Qaeda had to be minimized. The attack on the embassy had to be minimized. The deaths of 4 Americans had to be minimized so that Barack Obama could get reelected. That's my stand, and I'll stand behind it.
No, you're absolutely right. However, that just proves that this is a pattern, because when he went down to Fort Hood day before yesterday, I'm not sure when it was, he went and did his presidential duty by, saying we're really sorry about this and doing what he did, and instead of, just laying low and going back to the White House or doing some other important business, it's like, whoa, now I got to get on the plane and jet to another fundraiser. That's what we're doing today. And just showing no sense of presidential authority or anything. It's just kind of like, for real? Are you serious? I mean, what is he thinking? He isn't presidential, and it's sad.
How many times have you heard this administration and the spokespeople for this administration say, well, we're going to find out who did this and hold them accountable? Rita, I am so sick of those words. They've said it about Syria. They've said it about Iran. They've said it about what happened with Benghazi. They have lied through their teeth, and nobody's held accountable, because if they did and would, it would absolutely, I think, open up the books on how bad this administration really is.
Well, that's absolutely right. And the problem is that this goes deeper, way deeper than the president, way deeper than Eric Holder. I saw an article yesterday and there wasn't much brought up about it because I think they're possibly still investigating, of that Congressman Cummings, who I said, and he had a little tiff over, him not getting to say his thing. Mm-hmm. But it kind of sounds to me like that Elijah Cummings was tied up with his office in this IRS thing against that, let's see, it's called something the vote. That lady in Texas that has had just tons and tons and tons of government visitors come to visit her, and Elijah Cummings' office was back and forth targeting her group with the IRS way before any of this ever came out.
My contention is that we have a bunch of thugs, punks, and criminals operating under the guise of congressmen and senators. And there's a lot of lawlessness that absolutely has to be cleaned up. I'm fed up with it. I listened to this verbiage yesterday about whether it was John McCain saying that he was going to approach John Boehner and he was going to ask him for a special investigatory committee to look into Benghazi. Hey, Rita, I don't care about the verbiage. I don't care about the TV time. We're paying these people to be effective and get something done. And I'm fed up with the rift in the Republican Party. I'm fed up with the Democrats and all they do. We need to clean house.
Well, that's absolutely right. And all John McCain wanted is for it to go on record that he was going to ask somebody, because if he had any fortitude, he would have had already asked and said, we have requested this, and this is where it's gone, instead of, this is what I'm going to do. I want everybody to know that I'm doing my job and everything else. And it's like there were 2 quotes from senators on the news last night regarding John Kerry and the diplomatic things that he is doing supposedly with Ukraine and everybody else. McCain was one of them, saying we need to give the guns to the Ukrainians so that they can defend themselves. And Senator Risch from Idaho said this is all spiraling out of control because somebody doesn't know what they should be doing.
Absolutely. We, I think, are looking at the wussification of America personified through this administration. Nobody respects us anymore. I mean, I've had people on my program, I've called people from around the world, and people are laughing at us. People are laughing at this, where we're not even speaking softly and carrying a big stick. We're just speaking softly and not carrying a stick at all. This is ridiculous. Our foreign policy is going to be our demise, I believe.
Well, it will, and this is why it comes back down to the state level. They can do all that they want back in Washington, but if we make Washington irrelevant in our state, then we are going to be farther ahead than anybody else. And that's basically what it's supposed to be. The 10th Amendment says that the federal government shall do nothing that the states can do for themselves. And so the federal government gets involved in everything else, and then they can't take care of the diplomatic things or protecting us. They should be doing the protection of this country and figuring out what needs to be done with other countries instead of welfare and health care and school and all these other things that they're in the middle of and that they're trying to take care of. And we as a state need to find out, and our state leaders need to understand that they are the ones that have the power for the state of Idaho. Our sheriffs have the power for the counties that they're in charge of. This is regarding the thing that you were talking about earlier about the sheriff down in Clark County in
Absolutely.
Nevada. He has more power than the federal government does if he would just understand that and step out and say, no, this isn't what you're going to do. See, that happened with the sheriff up in Salmon a number of years ago regarding the wolves.
Yep.
And the feds came in and they wanted to do this and that and the other, and they were going to autopsy the wolf and everything so they could put that guy in jail. And the sheriff said, no, you can't do it. But what the feds didn't know is that the sheriff had already been there with a veterinarian. They had done an autopsy. They had it on film. They had it proved. And he refused to let the feds take his citizen and put him in jail because he'd still be sitting there all these years later. But because the sheriff knew what his duty was, he protected those in his county that he needed to. And our sheriffs, ours even here, thinks that it's crazy when you ask him, do you understand the kind of power that you have? Oh, you're just a bunch of right-wing, idiots. You don't know what's going on. I'm the sheriff and I know what's going on. And I think the federal government has got them so tied up to federal funds and grants and stuff like that they have no leverage. They can't do their job like they're supposed to.
I agree. I'm going to ask you to have patience for about 1 minute, 60 seconds. We're going to have a weather update, and it's brought to you by Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. All the guns, all the ammo, all the accessories, and all the information with a very efficient, educated staff at Red's Trading Post in Twin Falls. Here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Springtime in the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho. Yeah, it's real simple. Another day of sun and clouds. Temperature today for a daytime high, 77 is a pretty good number, 41 for the overnight low. And tomorrow, going into the weekend, it'll be fabulous. Have a great day and enjoy the weather and feel the you got.
Thank you, Michael. And don't forget, if you purchase a firearm from Red's Trading Post and receive training bucks for both LMS defense and Shaw shooting to use in their rifle and pistol training courses. Guns, ammo, and accessories at Red's Trading Post in Twin Falls. Rita, yesterday, the bottom, I think, fell out of one of the possible Republican candidates for president, and that was Jeb Bush. I said it first hour. I'm going to say it again. This man, and possibly the Republican Party, in trying to play for the Hispanic vote, made some comments about illegals coming into this country that I absolutely will not stand for. And if he is the Republican nominee, not going to vote for Jeb Bush.
Well, I think he was pretty blatant about that, and I somewhat tend to agree with what Rush Limbaugh said on that, because he said it makes you wonder if he's just putting that out there so that people know that that's where he stands and he isn't really going to be a contender for president because he doesn't want to be. And everybody just keeps, Jeb, aren't we going to get Jeb Bush? Aren't we going to get Jeb Bush? Well, he's pro-Common Core, and he's pro-illegal in immigration, and he has no desire to go through the process for immigration like needs to be done. And so it just makes one wonder that either the Republican Party could really go goofy and choose somebody like that, or say, you know what, we're going to lose more than half of our base if we get him, and so we just won't. And it just almost makes you wonder if he was doing that just to be kind of eliminated so people didn't ask him.
Well, no, I don't look at it that way. I look at the harm he did to the Republican Party. I look at the harm he did for any kind of a difference between the parties. I mean, Rita, there's got to be a time, and the time is now, it's almost past time, that the Republican Party stands up for good, bad, or ugly. They've got to stand up on their own platform instead of being wussy about it and trying to change and just literally buy votes like the Democrats. And as far as Bush saying that, we've got to let him in because it's a labor of love for them to come up here and want to be a part of America. You have heard Frosty and I talk every Monday morning on this illegal immigration. We do not have the infrastructure, we do not have the money, we do not have the jobs, and we certainly do not have the personnel to basically oversee an influx of all these millions that are coming across the border illegally.
Well, you're absolutely right, and one of these days our country will either break or they'll see that, you know what, we really need to get this under control. Why we're the only country in the world that doesn't take care of our borders is beyond me. I mean, I just don't understand why these people think that we can do that, and if they're so naive as to think that by bringing all of these illegal people in here, that it would, and we are okay with it as the Republicans, that we will get their votes. They are just drinking Kool-Aid. There is no way in the world that we're ever going to get their votes, because as long as the free stuff is out there and Santa Claus, they're going to vote for them. So we're not going to pick up voters in that respect.
I agree. There's another story that it was so glossed over. Everybody just kind of made a quick mention of it, and then it's gone. And I don't think that CNN and ABC and CBS and NBC even touched it. But Obama is asking for $1.1 billion, with a B, $1.1 billion for enhanced gun control. I said it the first hour, and I'll say it again. Look out, gun owners. Here he comes.
Well, this all has to do with the UN and taking away our guns. And if we don't stop it and say, you know what? Second Amendment, we don't need to do that. We don't need to track them. We don't need to find out who has them. We've already got them. Guns help us enforce the law. They help us to be safe. And they help criminals to realize that they just can't run and do everything they want to without there being a consequence. And so the first thing is that it's our Second Amendment rights. And the Second Amendment rights are basically what enforces all of the other amendments and the articles in the Constitution. So if we give that up, out with the Constitution, we're done.
And, you know, going back, and we have to, if we're going to talk about gun control, you have to go back to Eric Holder, the Attorney General, with his absolutely scary remarks the other day about how in his ideas about gun control and gun control reform, making all gun owners wear a kind of a wristwatch band and ankle bracelet, if you will, and if they want to use a gun, fine, but we'll track them and know where they go. That's, believe me, you're already a criminal before you're even prosecuted.
And that's their intent. It's nothing less than just a tracking device so that they can find out who's got them and where, so that if they decide to come after our guns, they know where they're all at because they have them on their little charts.
There was a circumstance yesterday that I'd be amiss if I didn't ask you as a lady and also a mom to comment on this morning. But that mess, that heinous mess in Pennsylvania with a student taking two knives and just literally stabbing and just causing all kinds of lacerations and hurt and pain to 22 people at that high school in Pennsylvania yesterday. What is going wrong today with the student riots like at Iowa State University and Kentucky and also UConn, University of Connecticut, the burnings and the destruction of property, and then the 16-year-old picking up knives and slashing people? Rita, what's the matter with our young people in society today?
Well, I know this sounds like, oh, here she goes. She's this religious, zealot. But it all comes down to what parents teach in the home.
I agree.
And if parents teach and they hold their children responsible and they help their kids understand that there are consequences And that helps them to understand, I better not do something because I don't want to pay the consequences. It makes for a better world. And, to come right down to it, God knew what he was doing when he gave us a set of rules called the Ten Commandments, and that was so that we would have some kind of a roadmap to pattern our lives after and to live so that we didn't infringe on other people's rights and the things that they could do. If parents can't be parents, then why would we expect that their kids would be responsible? You see all of those kids that are protesting and the spring break kids and everything like that. That comes down to one thing. If those kids knew that their parents knew they were doing that and they'd be ending up home without any money for college, they'd be pulled out of classes, they wouldn't be doing that because they'd say, you know what, I don't want to jeopardize my education. It's kind of like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Mom and Dad have never made me do thus and thus and thus, and they're paying literally thousands and thousands of dollars a year so I can be here, and it doesn't matter. But when you have a student that says, you know what, my mom and dad taught me different, and if they find out that I'm any part of this, any of it, they'll have me back home and I'll be working at the family business or down at the local hamburger store to earn money to go to college, but they won't pay for it. Then you have a whole set of different things. People have to understand there's consequences, and when we don't teach our children about consequences, we just end up making them citizens that aren't productive.
Well, look at this 18-year-old brat, this New Jersey girl that, oh my goodness, it just makes me grit my teeth, that she sued her parents. And finally, the lawsuit was thrown out of court, thank goodness, from a judge that was a father himself and understood what this brat was. She goes back home, and now she has taken advantage of the situation again. She's out drinking and partying every night, coming back home at 2, 3 in the morning, being with all these different boyfriends and everything till God knows when in the morning, and her mom and dad are worried sick about it. There's another case of where the dad and the mother ought to say, okay, sweetie, don't let the door hit you in the posterior on the way out, because you are out of here.
I'm sure that that's really, really difficult to do, but you have to look at the big picture and say, you know what, this is what you chose, and this is what you get. And when you grow up, we're going to be here to love you and back you up, but we can't do this anymore. You're out of here, and that's right. And when that happens with parents doing that to children, it makes better people out of them, because pretty soon they grow up and they look back and go, man, probably the best thing that happened to me was the day that I got my butt kicked out of the house so that I had to go on my own and start taking responsibility.
There you go. Rita, I am flat out of time. Real quick, I got about 15 seconds left. Anything going on with the Tea Party? Real fast.
We have Tea Party meeting tonight at 7 at the city. We're going to pass out signs and flyers and yard signs. If you can't pick them up at Tea Party meeting, you can stop at Moon & Associates and pick up some, or here at Ramsey's. We've got the stuff for the election information, and we need to have some help getting this information out so that we're informed as to what our elections are meaning in May. It's a general election in May, actually, for Idaho.
Okay.
Not just the primary. It's really the general.
All right, Rita Ramsey, thank you much. Talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, thanks, Sab.
Thank you. Hey, right now, if you're hungry like I am on this diet, and I got tooth marks in my microphone, and starving to death, I know some great places to go for lunch. How about we talk about the Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley, the Southern Baked Burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell. Oh, made of chicken or steak in a very special way. It's delicious. How about the Bandito Burrito? How about Nacho Burrito? Or maybe a chimichanga? All of this and more at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And I know a couple of other places, Burgers Etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 North Overland in Burley. They've got all kinds of goodies, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, anything you can think of. And also they've got delicious ice cream and desserts, and every Sunday a shrimp dinner special at the Burley location. My goodness, don't forget, 2 locations of Burgers Etc. in Rupert, and Burley. Let's move on over to Steve-O's. Hello, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. And they were voted to have the best French fries by the Best of Minnecasia in 2014. Fresh hand-cut French fries. Oh, either steak fries or regular fries. Making me drool. Love those fries at Steve-O's. Don't forget, too, they got pork chops with salad and a choice of spuds. That is a delicious plate of food. Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. You stop in and see them today. How about our friends over at Duck Uglies? I love that name. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, they got a menu that includes ribeye steaks, New York steaks, shrimp, salmon, battered cod, and they got a Philly cheesesteak sandwich that'll knock your Tony Lamas off. I'll guarantee you it's kid-friendly, family-friendly, non-smoking environment at Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30, right there going on into Burley. Great place. And last but not least, as we hurry along, the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes. They've got the famous Farmer Brown burgers. My grandsons love those. They've got the combo meals. They got a 3-piece fish and chips with small fry, only $7 1/4. My goodness, any kind of a milkshake you want, you're going to love. You're going to absolutely love the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. And those, I'm out of air, those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. Gina, help me. Pass the oxygen tent. I had to hurry.
You did, and you did well, and yes, I am starving.
Oh, man, I have stayed on my diet. I'm losing weight. I'm wearing a shirt here this morning, right now, if I'm on camera over there with you. I'm wearing a shirt right now this morning I haven't been able to button for the last 4 years.
You mean the bottom buttons just were popping?
No, I mean the top buttons didn't even come close.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it shrunk in the closet.
How much weight have you lost?
Right at 20 pounds.
Hey, good job.
Yeah, and and believe me, I'm looking forward to get off the diet so I can put it back on again.
I know. I have that nice juicy old ribeye.
Oh, there you go. My peach pie a la mode. Hey, I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Hey, we don't do things like this normally, but Gina, jump on the line here real quick, would you?
What's up?
When you see Janan, is she right there in the studio with you?
No, she's in the Jerome studio.
All right, well, tell her that she's the first person I've ever heard in broadcasting that could put the word recidivism in a sentence like that and not slur it. She did a fantastic job.
I will let her know, and recidivism is a hard word. You have to practice it.
It should be banned.
Yes, I know.
Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers. And they include, we're going to be talking to them in just a minute, Lease Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Before we go to the phone lines, I want to remind everybody about the Chadwick Grill. Oh, listen to this menu for today. Oh, a meatball sub sandwich with their homemade marinara sauce, melted provolone cheese, grilled onions, and olives, along with fries or tots and super salad.
I'm hungry.
I'm starving. That sounds so fantastic. Send one over if you even have to run at Pony Express. That sounds fantastic. At the Chadwick Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness. Meatball sub sandwich, homemade marinara sauce, melted provolone cheese, grilled onions, and olives. I love it. Chadwick Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Wow, that sounds good. Let's head on over right now to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Did you notice, my dear Pam, that I am not going to get hung out to dry anymore because I waited to see who was on the phone?
I know. You just never know who you're going to get, do you? It's
Surprise.
Chocolate.
Hey, what's happening over at Lee's Furniture?
Hey, we're finishing up with our anniversary celebration this week, and we still have all of our fantastic buys going on. We have a 14-piece living room set for $9.99. 3 different colors in the sofas. Great buy for anybody who wanted to come in and set up a whole room.
Oh, my goodness. Now, I have a question there. Do they come in and say, well, our walls are this color or whatever, and you kind of help coordinate everything, right?
Oh, yeah. we can do that. You betcha we do.
Okay, what else have you got cooking over there?
Oh, we've got all of our dining room sets are on sale, and along with that sale, you get a 16-piece dinnerware set.
Oh, my.
So that means you get the plate and the cup and the saucer and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And what else do we have? We've got our dining rooms are 30% off. We've got a couple of bedroom suites that are 50% off. And all of my fantastic accessories are 1/2 off.
Oh, my.
So that's cool.
Now, when you say accessories, we're talking lamps and what, paintings and...
Lamps and pictures and floral arrangements and anything that's, that accessorizes your house is my department, and it's all half price.
And so there again, I'll go back, and you are a professional that understands the color coordination and everything else. What's going to look good?
That's right. I can help with what looks good.
Okay. Hey, how about carpet? You got a lot of carpet over there this time of day?
We do, and we're still honoring our good, better, best, so we can do a room, 3 rooms for $6.99, $7.99, or $8.99. So that's a fantastic buy.
Now,
choose your carpet and everything.
Absolutely. Now, boy, I tell you what, you've got literally everything for the beautification and the comfort of the home. But boy, you've also got, because I have one, comfortable mattresses for a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. We have the Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses with the individual pocketed coils, and they're a dream to sleep on.
They're a dream.
Everybody should have one.
I like that. They're a dream to sleep on. You'd better believe it. All they have to do is get into 459 Overland in Burley and talk to the wonderful, very, very polite, beautiful Pam over there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Anything else real quick, Pam?
We would like to also remind all of our customers out there that we have Flex Steel now, and Flex Steel has a wonderful story behind it, and it's got the little C-frame underneath it to support the cushions. It's wonderful furniture, and everyone should come in and take a peek at all the fabrics and everything, and we can special order, or we have several sets on the floor, and when you've sat in a Flex Steel, you'll understand why they are so wonderful.
All right, Pam, have a great week. Say hello to everybody, and we wish you God's blessings at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Nice people over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Just a minute. We are going to get our Cassia County School Days on the air, so stand by. And by the way, our thanks to our segment sponsors of Cassia County School Days. It's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they called us and let us know that they have hundreds of spring dresses beginning at $20. $20! And here's what you can do. You can crack an egg and get an additional perhaps 15 to 50% off your purchase. Wow! You better stop into the family store, and that's A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And also, another sponsor of School Days in Cassia County is Ambulatory Surgery Center. And if you're planning a surgical procedure, please call them at 677-8888. And they can maybe help you save hundreds to possibly thousands of dollars by having your doctor use the Ambulatory Surgery Center. They are wonderful people serving you at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. So thanks to both Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World for sponsoring School Days in Cassia County. Now this week we're going to be visiting with Dana DeHaan. I hope I said the name correctly, and she is the District Curriculum Director for Cassia County. Dana, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you this morning?
Not too shabby. Now, give us a little background as to what in the world the District Curriculum Director does for the school system.
Well, right now, thanks to the voters of Cassia County and approving our supplemental levy, we are doing a social studies adoption for our 6th through 12th grade classrooms and getting new social studies materials for our teachers. It's been 12 or 13 years since they've had new textbooks.
All right,
and
now,
they are also very thankful and looking forward to this.
I'll bet they are. But now let's back up a little bit, and pardon my interruption, but social studies. Explain that for those of us that have been away from school for a long time.
Well, it hasn't changed much, frankly. This would be the one content area that I think most everybody would be very familiar with. We this particular adoption, we're focusing on 6th through 12th grade, and 6th grade is Western Hemisphere geography, 7th grade is Eastern Hemisphere geography. 8th grade, we start with the U.S. History 1, which is pre-colonial years through the Reconstruction. 9th grade, we do a Global Studies, which is a current event, and then we view world history and geography through the lens of current events and how it impacts us in America. 11th grade, we do U.S. History 2, which is turn of the century through present day. We have economics and American government, some psychology, which isn't exactly social studies, but we are including that in our materials.
Okay, now I've been taking notes a little bit fast as I can while you were talking, and I want to ask you about various subjects that you mentioned. Number 1, geography. I commend you for this because I am appalled as to the lack of knowledge that students have in general about where in the dickens they are at on the map, and they can't hardly even find the state of Idaho. This is great that you're teaching geography.
And K-5 focuses on geography for the state of Idaho and United States, but then it becomes a lot more intense their 6th grade year. And it is a full Western Hemisphere geography at that point. They get another year of it in 7th grade, and then the 9th grade year with Global Studies focuses on quite a bit on geography, depending on the current events. You know, right now with the Malaysian airline, I'm sure our students are studying the geography and geopolitical issues around that area of the world.
You know, Dana, I've been a kind of a critique person of what's going on in U.S. history and what's not being taught. And I got to be honest with you, and I'm never going to be anything but forthright on my program, that I think in general across from the Atlantic to the Pacific, the younger generation today is at a loss for really what's going on with American history, our government, etc. And so I really do hope that you get books in there, and also the teachers that are really going to let somebody know in the classroom our heritage, how valuable the Constitution is, and how much we need to fight to preserve it.
And I think our teachers in our district do a very good job with that. They're very passionate about it, and our kids are exposed to it every year while they're in our school district.
You know, there's been a lot of talk, Dana.
We're certainly covering it.
Well, there's been a lot of talk, and I want to ask you this question. How do you, as a district curriculum director, ascertain which books you're going to use? Because I know, and I've looked at many different books, there are some exceptions, there are some exclusions, there's a twisting of history. How do you know what you're going to use in the classroom, and do you take a good look at those books before you get them?
We take a very deep look at them. We have a rubric, and just the items that you mentioned are included on that rubric. We want the history to be portrayed accurately. We want it to be reflective of our community norms and what's important to us in our community, that we're making sure that that's included. We have relevancy, accuracy, organization. We are doing a very in-depth analysis of these textbooks to make sure that that is all covered. And would like to invite parents to come look at them as well. We're going to have an open house on Wednesday, April 16th at Kaja High School from 3:30 to 4:30. And we will have samples of all of our books. And we will also, if parents would like to email or call me, I can give them online access so they could get in also and take a look at the top 3 publishers that we're looking at that we feel are the best match for us. And we would encourage community input.
I love that. And I think you will agree with me, though, Dana, that there are textbooks out there that absolutely have, they're misguided, they're miswritten, and they're not of historical fact.
I think that's very accurate. Yes, and the top 3 publishers that we have selected are very well scrutinized and widely accepted by our teachers. One of them, Magruder's Government, is our favorite from our government teachers, just as the way it teaches the Constitution and the American government. And it's been around, I'm guessing, 20, 25 years, and is still the preferred textbook by our government teachers.
Okay.
I mean, that it's still the most accurate. And I think our teachers would agree with you on making sure that we get the correct historical perspective. And they're very well trained and very passionate about it.
You know, economics, and I got to say this, when I was in high school, I hated the econ course. I hated it with a passion. And now, looking back, I would have said today it would be one of my favorite classes because of the work I do and what I do daily on this radio program talking about nationwide economics, etc. Is this a class that these young people really, do they understand how important economics is to learn in school?
I don't know that I can answer that. That would probably be better left for the teachers. I know the teachers that we have teaching it are passionate about it and make it relevant for the kids and try to connect it to modern day issues that they can understand. And we're not doing a in-depth micro or macroeconomics. It's more of a survey, hoping to hook our kids on the importance of it. And I know we do try to make it as relevant as we can to their lives so that they do understand that. I'm like you. It didn't hit me until I was an adult how valuable that information is.
Absolutely. And, you know, it sounds to me, and of course now I haven't seen the textbooks and I really can't pass judgment, but it sounds to me like the Cassia County School District is on top of things now with new books and a curriculum that's really going to hit everything right on the nail. I'm really happy that you're on the program this morning because it sounds like you're getting everything upgraded and for better teaching to the youngsters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we so appreciate the community support in this and want to make sure that they have an opportunity to come in and see the work we're doing. You know, I get asked frequently, you know, there's misconceptions out there. Are you still teaching the Constitution? Are you still teaching history? Oh, very much so. In fact, our requirements exceed the state requirement as to the amount of history and government that we do teach our students. And it's important to us.
You know, Dana, it's been a treat having you on the air, and please come back in the future. Anytime we have anything that would be in your niche, if you would, as far as curriculum director, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show this morning.
Thank you, and I want to remind everybody again, Wednesday, April 16th at Cassia High School, from 3:30 to 4:30, we will have a parent community review of the materials. And if anyone has any questions, they can call me at our central office.
All right, Dana DeHaan, District Curriculum Director for Cassia County. Thank you, Dana, and we'll look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you much. You know, that is good to hear. That is really good to hear, and I was glad to hear her remarks regarding Western history and geography. Oh, I hated geography in high school. I hated it! And now, I wished I would have studied harder. I mean, when you talk about the mess over on the Ukraine and with Crimea and all that, you know, you want to be able to go to the globe and spin it and stop your finger right at where it is. And, you know, geography is very important, especially in this smaller world that we have today. And they're teaching U.S. history and our Constitution and economics. Man, I'm glad to talk to her. That was good. I appreciate what she had to say. I am going to be getting a call in just a very few moments, I hope, from my dear friend Ron Ellis, and we're going to be talking about what's going to take place on Saturday night. While I'm waiting for him to call, I want to remind you that there's some other things I need to mention, too. Oh, my goodness, I lost that sheet. Gina, I lost it. We have a public service announcement. There it is. Doreen McMurray is taking final orders for the bare root seedling trees. Quantities are limited. Seedlings arrive after Easter. Call one of the tree phone lines. Tree phone lines. Look at that tree. It's got a phone in it. At 208-312-5789 or 208-312-0727 for more information and get your trees. And again, call the tree phone lines. Look for an oak that has a telephone in it and call those numbers that I just mentioned.
You sure that Ron was supposed to call today?
Yep. He'll be calling in. Probably he's listening right now and dialing the number. And how do I know this, you say? Well, it's because he called during the news at 10 o'clock and asked if he could come on the program at 10:25.
Ah, gotcha.
See,
that would be why it's not on my rundown.
No, and that's an addition that you should have been notified about, but there, again, I goofed.
That's okay. That's okay. We fly by the seat of our pants here at Zebit the Ranch.
And my Wranglers are getting thin.
Need to put some wings on them, babies.
What are you going to do this weekend?
Let's see here.
It's supposed to be nice outside.
I know. I would like to get some yard work done. Of course, we are going to go to the Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North for Patriots Night at the King Fine Arts Center. After that, I think we might be working on a car. I'm not sure.
You're always working on something. Deanne was out in her yard yesterday, and she was just absolutely ripping up those flower beds. She's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27, 28, 29 flower beds.
Whoa.
And she just gets into
one.
that. Really?
I got one, well, okay, 2 flower beds, 3, okay, so 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 flower beds, and then my backyard is partitioned into 2 different gardens.
Oh, my. Yeah, she gets down there on her hands and knees, and I felt sorry for her, and I came out of the barn, and I said, hey, can I help you? And all of a sudden, she had a kind of a little trowel in one hand and a shovel in another, and she said, stay away from my flowers! I don't want you near this stuff.
Well, you don't need to, you should not be near her flowers. And we've got Randy Golay on the phone for you.
Okay, real quick, Randy, because I got a call coming in. What can I do for you?
Yeah, the number, I was given the wrong number earlier, and I just didn't want all these people to think to be dialing the wrong number. The right number after I called back is 702-828-4082.
4082. That's for the Clark County Sheriff?
Well, actually, they've kicked it over to the Public Affairs Division of the Las Vegas Police Department for some reason.
Oh, my.
I have yet to get through so they could explain to me what they're doing. She told me that the volume of calls coming across the country is truly, they says, we're just buried.
And probably the first number you gave was for the room at the MGM Grand, right?
Well, when I called the number, and finally the guy answered, and I said, hey, is this the Clark County Sheriff? He goes, no. I said, oh, my word. I said, okay, sorry. So I called back and went through all the prompts at the sheriff's office, got a hold of the lady. She says, this is the number you need to call. I said, well, the lady that gave me the last number, it was wrong. And she says, well, I don't know how that occurred. She says, you're getting a lot of calls? She says, yes, we're buried.
All right, well.
We're not prepared for it.
All right, Randy, I tell you what, I appreciate you calling back. Thank you much. I got Ron Ellis that's going to be calling in. Thank you very much. Let's check with Gina and see if he's there. Is Ron there?
Nope.
He's not there yet. I told him to call at 10:25. Ron, set your watch. And we'll wait patiently for him and see what else we've got here. Let's see. In a little bit, we're going to be calling down to Austin, Texas, and talk to Randy Gibbons. And Randy's been on our program many, many times. He is a professor and also really an astute political kind of a junkie like the rest of us, and knows what's going on with the Democrats and the Republican Party and also the EPA. He's really a student of what the EPA is doing and not doing, and we're going to have him on the air at about 10:30 this morning, so stay tuned for that. Still no Ron Ellis, huh?
No, I'm waiting.
Okay, Ron, if you're listening, you better call because time is wasted.
Have his number?
Yeah, let's call 431-6776. Call him and tell him we got to get him on real quick. Can't wait. We'll do it on the air live. 431-6776. See if he answers.
Live radio.
Okay, I love it. Now he's not answering his phone. It's not a good sign.
Oh, it's not a good sign. 431-6776.
That's it, yep.
Yep.
Well, it looks like he called. Maybe he got hung up someplace. I don't know. And I think his answering machine will be coming on now. Well, evidently, yeah, that's his answering machine. Okay, Ron, I'm sorry, but we can't get you on this half hour. I'll do my best to get you on next half hour. Hopefully, you know what I bet he did? I'll bet he had his watch set for Seattle time where he was, and I said 10:25.
11, yeah, and that would be 11:25 our time. So he'll.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. It would be 9:25. Seattle time. That's right. They're an hour behind us. So see,
Yes,
it is 9:30 up there right now.
Yes, and so if he's going to call in at 10:30 his time, it's going to be...
I'm going to be off the air, and I'm going to be eating lunch.
Of course, he was going to talk about he's got a challenge going out for those who sell the most tickets to the Patriots night coming up this
Night of Patriots and today's heroes at the King Fine Arts Center, 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. And, Ron, we did our best to get you on. You just better reset your watch. And right now we're going to send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in 3.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much and welcome back. We're on the home stretch headed into the last half hour. Zeb at the Ranch for a Thursday, and thanks for being with us. Over the last couple of years, we've developed friendships all over the United States with this program, and this next gentleman lives down in Austin, Texas, and believe me, I've got a lot of respect for his knowledge and abilities when it comes to politics, and I'll say good morning to Randy Givens. How are you, sir? Is he there?
Calling him back on the landline. Do you want me to do the weather?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This has been an interesting last 10 minutes, hasn't it? We'll try to get Randy back on the air in just a moment, but we'll do the weather. And the weather this hour is brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Notice how quickly we segued to that. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road in Jerome. And don't forget, locally owned custom meat processor, over 20 years service to Southern Idaho, and they offer quality products at very reasonable rates. And don't forget, they're selling taste one bite at a time. Here now, Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Springtime in the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho. Yeah, it's real simple. Another day of sun and clouds. Temperature today for a daytime high, 77 is a pretty good number, 41 for the overnight low. And tomorrow, going into the weekend, it'll be fabulous. Have a great day and enjoy the weather and see what weather you got.
Oh, I tell you what, expert meat cutting, and they also have their own smokehouse. You're going to love what Scarrows can do for you at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657, selling taste one bite at a time. As I mentioned, I'm very honored to have this man on my program. Randy Givens, good morning, down in Austin, Texas. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing fine. How are y'all up north?
Well, the weather's starting to straighten up, and we're seeing more consistency with our temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and it's going to be a wonderful spring. But we also have some problems, and they are with the government. We've got a government right now that I don't have to tell you seems that they can do anything they want. They're not going to be held accountable. And we've got an attorney general that acts like he is kind of the king of the mountain. What are your thoughts about what you're seeing daily with the personality of this administration?
It's getting worse and worse. Obama has said is that I've got a phone and a pen, and that he is going to do whatever he can do without Congress, that he is going to stretch his presidential powers to the limit, and get it done because Congress won't do what he wants to do.
Randy,
that is dangerous because as presidents steal power, usurp power from the other branches of government, we're building an imperial presidency that we can't afford to have. And then his thug-in-chief at the Department of Justice the other day was really nasty to a congressman when he was being questioned. So I don't care for it at all. I think that it's a really bad situation.
Let me ask you this. Louis Gohmert from Texas, I've got the transcript right in front of me of what was said and the verbiage, and he didn't say anything wrong. He was conducting the hearing and asking questions, and then all of a sudden the Attorney General said, hey, buddy, you better not go there. This administration in general, whether it's him or whether it's Obama or whether it's anybody else in this administration, they seem to be above questioning as to why they do things.
Yes, sir. And they've also flat out lied. In one of my classes last night, I played a video for my students of Senator Obama giving a nice short, answering a question from the public, and then giving a short lecture on signing statements. And he ripped George Bush up and down for using signing statements and swore that he would not use them. And then once he got into office, he told the entire executive branch, which is most of the United States government except for the courts and Congress, is that to ignore every signing statement that President Bush had done, except unless the Attorney General told him to obey it. And 2 days later, he issued his first signing statement himself. So he's doing exactly what he, on the liberty side, exactly against what he promised us when he was running. But he sure is living up to his promise right before the election of saying, join me as I fundamentally change the United States forever.
Randy, you teach this in class every day. You read everything you can about what's going on in our government, and you probably more than most perceive the bad guys in politics today more so than the others. What do you think about this administration? There's a lot of people that tell me on my program, oh, you're just one of those strong right-wingers. Obama's not that bad. Why, this, that, and the other. And they say he's no different or any worse than any other president. How would you respond to that?
I think you need to look at the case of the Bundys in their ranch and confrontation with the feds. Where on a state high, and this is a long-going battle back and forth, where the feds are trying to force them off of their grazing rights and destroy their ranch, which they've had since the 1800s. And in that, the feds basically put up a corral of cattle panel or something similar to it, well away from where the feds were confiscating their cattle, and said that was the First Amendment area, that you could only have free speech and the right to peacefully assemble and petition the government in that area and nowhere else. And the family drove down the state highway with state right-of-way and stopped on state land and were taking photographs of what the feds were doing on their grazing allotment, and immediately were swarmed by 10 vehicles from the Bureau of Land Management, and there were 4 snipers seen up on the hilltop with their guns pointed at them for simply filming what the feds were doing, making a record of it. And they arrested the guy with the camera, and when the father called and said, "Where's my son?" they told him to get off of the phone or they would arrest him. Now that is a tremendous violation of the First Amendment.
Well, let me ask you a very obvious question. We were talking about this in the first hour of the program. Where, during all of this, is the man that really holds the key to the most power for that area, the county sheriff?
I don't know. I haven't focused on the county sheriff, but with that amount of armament, and when they put 4 snipers trained on one man with nothing more than a movie camera on the side of a highway, you might guess is that they're threatening a level of deadly force that the question is, do you want to put your life on the line standing up to them?
Yeah.
In that, because just like Randy Weaver, the murder of his wife and son, nobody was ever punished for that.
You know, this is not the America that I grew up in, and we're looking at power-hungry souls that are involved in every single part of our government today, whether it is these federal people that are trying to hold at bay this family, or whether it's the EPA trying to stop somebody from building a home on their property, claiming that a puddle of water was a wetlands. The EPA and the power struggle that's going on in this country, Randy, have you ever seen anything get so bad as this is currently?
Well, I wish Congress had a police force that could go arrest members of the executive branch. Congress has very little ability to force the president and his people to obey the law. The president is sworn to uphold the law and enforce the law, and yet he's writing his own law. He has effectively ignored the law that says you are not allowed to have marijuana in any form, period, including medical marijuana. And 21 states, I think, have passed medical marijuana laws, and he says through his Department of Justice, well, we're not going to enforce the law in those states that have medical marijuana laws, but if you go outside of one of those states and have marijuana, then we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. We're supposed to be a nation of the rule of law, not the rule of men. And I personally think, from what I've read, is that medical marijuana should be legalized. I've got a grandson with leukemia, and I've been fighting cancer for 8 years, and it's a medicine. And there are artificial versions that are legal. Here in Texas, one of my students pointed out she works in a pharmacy where they sell Marinol, and I checked it out, and it's an artificial version of THC, and the feds had said that's legal. But the bottom line is, we have it's a convenient way to illustrate how those states have effectively nullified the federal law, and the president has refused to enforce it. And then the question becomes, those people who buy it recreationally, or maybe even under medical marijuana, when they sign a federal form to buy a gun, it says, are you addicted to or do you use a drug, and which includes marijuana. And so if you're using it recreationally in Colorado or Washington, and you buy a firearm, you have effectively broken the law and are subject to being thrown in prison and having your gun rights, your Second Amendment rights, taken away from you.
Oh, my.
And I would not put it past them to use the same principle on people who are using medical marijuana in those states, even though the feds have said they're not going to enforce it. That gives them the hammer to at any time can declare that those people are not qualified to purchase a firearm, just like they screwed over hundreds of thousands of veterans who were being treated for PTSD.
Absolutely.
Without any warning.
Yeah.
They took their Second Amendment rights away from them and said they couldn't own the firearm.
You know, Randy, you bring up the subject of gun control, and I might as well stay there for a few moments. I'm a little bit more than wary and scared as to what's happening in this country with gun control now that there's been that signing of that UN treaty, and just yesterday Obama came out and said that he wanted to add $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion to more gun control in this country. And then Eric Holder came out the other day and said that he wanted all gun owners to wear a bracelet if they were a gun owner. Boy, the trappings are on the wall as far as what they want to do, and it's complete control, and gun owners need to be very worried and afraid right now. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir. Now, Holder's bracelet, the way I read it, is that what he wants is that you wear a bracelet, and then the pistol is not going to work unless you've got that bracelet on.
That's right.
In close proximity to that weapon. But then there are millions and millions and millions of guns that are existing that don't have that feature.
That's right.
Is he going to outlaw those guns and only allow us to purchase these new guns after what we turn in our old guns? It doesn't work. And the technology hasn't been proven. And you would then be branded by wearing that bracelet all the time. And there are some problems that I've seen headlines, at least, is that those RFID kind of bracelets have been giving people adverse reactions to it.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you're allergic to it, then you can't have a gun.
Randy, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we're looking at a George Orwellian type situation enhanced right now in this year 2014 in the middle portion of this man's reign as the new king of the United States. I think we're just seeing a tip of the iceberg with the executive orders, the gun control, the economics, and everything else. People better be ready and be aware, because there's going to be a lot of changes in this country.
Well, yes, sir, but we also need to lean forward in the foxhole and look, because we're just over 2 years away from the November election to elect Obama's replacement.
That's right.
And we're being sold people like Jeb Bush, who the other day said is that, illegal immigration is an act of love, and so therefore we shouldn't punish it as a crime because it's only a misdemeanor. And people should realize is that his wife, Columba, was born in Mexico to let's put it a low-level agricultural base, and I've got it here. Her parents were a migrant worker, and she met Jeb Bush while he was teaching English in Mexico. But the thing that her bio on Wikipedia doesn't cover is the fact is that she went to Europe in the June 22nd, 1999 news article out of the St. Petersburg Times. She tried to smuggle in $19,000 in new clothing and jewelry, claiming that she only paid $500 for it. Customs busted her for it. She was detained and paid a fine of $4,100, which was 3 times the duty that she owned. So here we have Jeb Bush, obviously influenced by his Mexican wife, and saying is that, illegal immigration is no big deal in our country. And a lot of the Republican elites are pushing him to be our presidential candidate in 2016. Meaning is that, hey, surrender, 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 surrender.
Let me ask you this question then right there at that juncture, Randy. They're playing for the Hispanic vote. They're almost trying to imitate, if you will, what the Democrats are doing. So why in the world are we concerning ourselves with two parties when they're trying to blend into one? I personally am very offended by what they're doing.
I am sickened by the Republican elites, the big old boys in Washington on the national scene, and what they're doing with our party. Remember in the last election, in 2012 election, is that it was discovered is that the Democrats and the Republicans had come up with and agreed to a 35-page contract between the Democrats and Republicans on how the presidential debates were going to be run. And during that process, Ron Paul, on one of the debates, which went for an hour and a half or more, he got 90 seconds out of that entire time to be able to speak. And that is just nauseating.
Let me ask you right there about the 2014 midterm elections. The Republicans are in disarray. We've got a fight in the party with the new, if you will, versus the old. We've got total chaos in Congress and the House and also the Senate. There's no respect back there. Our governmental system seems to be absolutely disposable right now. What are your thoughts, and how do you teach these kids in your class about government and history when you're looking at such a debacle right now under this administration?
It's disgusting. Mitch McConnell, the Republican minority leader in the Senate, said that he was out to destroy the Tea Party. Literally. I mean, quote unquote, that we should destroy the Tea Party. Well, I think that we should unelect him. We should destroy him as a clear message. I voted for Ross Perot twice to tell the Democrats and the Republicans is that I was sick of their nonsense, and they didn't listen. But one thing we need to do is in this election is to fire those people who are running against us and put in people that promise to live up to the Constitution. And we've got to be careful because some of these folks are clowns that are being run as constitutionalists, and they would do more harm than good maybe. But there's some very good folks that are out there that are running, and it's up to the electorate to dig into what these people say for and send a message to the those in power is that we're sick and tired of it.
Let me just throw a name at you real quick, and I'm almost out of time, but I've been very impressed as of late with his very dogged attitude towards making things right, and that's Trey Gowdy. What are your thoughts about that man?
I love that guy. Yeah, he, in fact, I used several of his clips and going for the throat. We've got to remember is that for the 2016 elections, you've got Marco Rubio was born in the United States to two parents who had not become naturalized citizens. Okay, so that's a question of whether he can be president because is that a natural-born citizen?
Mm-hmm.
Ted Cruz, who I dearly love, was born to an American parent and a Cuban husband that had not become naturalized, and he was born in Canada. So that presents a problem about whether he can be that.
Mm-hmm.
We ought to get those two guys cleared right now instead of waiting on the last minute and muddying the waters. And it goes on. Bobby Jindal, governor of Louisiana, was born in the United States, but his parents had not become naturalized citizens at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nikki Haley, governor of South Carolina, is in the same position. Great folks, but the question is, are they qualified to run? And the thing is, we've got to get it through Congress, is that there must be a way to check on the background and verify, and at a national level, determine if candidates are qualified to be president. Are they natural born or not?
Well, I think
that has to be adapted at every state because you got to get on the ballot in every state to run for the presidency.
Absolutely. I think we've already bent the rules once with Barack Hussein Obama, but things probably will be tightened up from here on in. Randy, I want to wish you the very best. You've always been so helpful and amenable to come on this program. God's blessings to you, and I'll be in touch. Thank you for your information this morning. I'm flat out of time, but I'll call you back in the near future.
Thanks, Ed. You have a good day, buddy.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Dear friend, Randy Givens down in Austin, Texas this morning, and a teacher of political science, a professor, and highly regarded, and I appreciate him being on the program. Don't forget a great big spring tire sale going on right now at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness, all 7 locations with the best in tires for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, your horse trailers, your boat trailers. I mean, my goodness, for your car. cars. They got on sale right now the Ultra Z900, all the best of all season touring tires, over 20% more tread life, outstanding wet and dry traction, quieter riding tire. For your cars, it's ready to go. The Ultra Z900. Don't forget, too, the best in brake service with people that really know brakes, and of course all their batteries and shocks and struts and front end alignments and service. They really take care of you. With Lane over in Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Excuse me. We're just about ready to wrap it up for this week. And I don't know whatever happened to Ron, but maybe he's still on Pacific time. I don't know. But I want to remind everybody that Saturday night we will be, and Gina's going to be there too, and we'll try to all sit together and enjoy the Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North speaking at a night of Patriots and Today's Heroes at the King Fine Arts Center at 7 o'clock. Gina, tickets are still available by calling either 436-4149 or at the door, and I'm sure you also would urge everybody to be in attendance.
Please be in attendance. This is not only a great benefit to our community, but this is also for the Sergeant Chris Workman Scholarship Fund. I've been working really, really closely with Anna, and she really wants to fill up the place. And how often do we get the chance to listen to Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North speak in person?
Very nice gentleman. We've had him on our program. As a matter of fact, we replayed yesterday the interview from March 10th, a very personable man that understands politics, and his insight as to where we are and where we're going is very important, and I urge everybody to be there at 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. So that's coming up, King Fine Arts Center, and we will be there.
You got it.
Next week, of course, we've got a great big treasure chest of famous people from all over the United States that are going to be on our program. And Gina, real quick, I would like you to explain, like, if they want to get on Facebook and leave us messages, or if they want to listen to the program on a computer, zebbell.com. If you'd quickly explain that, I got about 15 seconds here.
You got it. Okay, to listen to the program, get online, go to zebbell.com, and then just click on the video link. That is oh so simple. To get onto his Facebook page, again, go to zebbell.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen, and then click on the Facebook like, and there you go.
God bless you, Gina. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Saturday night, and until we see each other on Monday morning, don't forget the way things were, the way things ought to be. God bless everybody. We'll see you then.